Marion.
Oh, here comes Mike.
Oh, here comes Mike.
Hey.
Yeah. And my husband's coming on in a minute. Okay, I was getting nervous, like something was wrong, because usually people come on early. So, hi, Mike.
Hi, how are you? Can you?
Oh, I'm great.
You can hear me.
How nice to see you.
Is that
Yes.
Marion?
That's Marion saying
Marion, my gosh.
it's about time we
World.
happy Ansel's birthday today.
That's right. Today,
It's today.
the
Yeah.
20th. Yeah.
Yeah. So
We were wanting to surprise you with Marion being here.
Well, I think that's great, Marion.
Yes, it's very nice.
yeah.
And happy birthday, Ansel. I don't
Right.
have a drink, but I can toast my big water glass.
Oh no, if I got a drink, it would be a Jack Daniels.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, hi, Fred.
Hi, Mark.
Yeah, you've been on before, but we've got Marion Patterson, and she's brand new.
Oh,
She's going to tell you about herself as we add on.
Well, it's been raining very
Well, I hope
heavily
so.
and windy again.
Yeah. I mean, our power was out and then it was on
Yeah,
and then it was
We
out.
were without power for 6 days in Carmel.
Mendocino Coast.
Oh, and I'm in
Yeah.
Morro Bay.
Oh, there's somebody.
Hi, Jean.
Hey.
Trying
Hi,
to
Jeannie.
get the sound.
This is Jean Curry-Lay, and she is on my committee.
Oh.
And I'm so happy to have you here. We've got new people this time, Jean. We've
Just
got Fred
on.
Brown. He isn't new anymore. He was here last time. But we've got Marion Patterson, who was out of power for 6 days.
A year ago, I
Can't
got
hear.
a generator. The generator has been cooking away.
We have a battery backup that didn't work.
Oh,
Oh,
So that's our problem. A temporary generator for a day or two.
Fred, you're on the coast too. You're at Morro Bay.
Yes, we haven't had any trouble this year.
Here's John Matthews. He's out in Portola Valley at the
Yes, indeed.
Sequoias. He just moved there a few months ago. Yeah.
Hey, there's Fred. There's Fred.
Oh, John.
How are you, man? I just saw Sarah Wheaton that just a couple hours ago. She was married to George Wheaton, who has passed away, but George was in our class as well.
Yeah, Mike just gave me some updates. He said George had passed away, and Ruth Waters. Ruth Junkie.
Ruth Chunky.
Yeah, Ruth Junkie Waters. So I've got my roster's got all kinds of corrections now, but after this meeting's over, then I'll do a new roster when I send you the YouTube. Hey, Chuck. Mike, do you remember Chuck Reed being on before?
No?
Me either. He's from San Marino. This is Dave Bragg and Marcy. Yeah. Oh, and here comes Ann Gardner. Oh, this is Robert Dixon. He's in Minnesota. He's new. Oh, Marty Trebe. Oh, Jean Mudge. I wonder if she's making a movie with her son, with their company. I wonder how it's coming along. We'll have to ask her. Robert Dixon, all I've got for you right now is your name. So you've got to get the video. There's Chuck.
I'm in here. Let's see.
Chuck Reed, you're in San Marino.
Hello, Chuck.
Oh, Marty, how are you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. Good to see you.
Hey, hi, Marcia.
Hi,
Good to see you.
nice to see you.
And we're supposed to have all kinds of people that aren't on yet. Sally Baumgartner she emailed me and said she would be joining us this time. Robert Dixon is his name, and he's from Fairfax, Minnesota. And he has such an interesting story to tell. He's 90, like we all are, and he owns a bank, and he runs the bank.
Wow.
In the town of Fairfax. And it's a very, very interesting story. So I'm so sorry he won't be here, but we have other interesting stories to talk about.
Yes,
and thanks to Mike and all his team, he told me you guys didn't know you were on a team. but Dave Bragg and Marty Trebe, John
True,
Matthews and Chuck, you're all on Mike's team, and they've been reaching out to all kinds of people in our class. So I've had some wonderful conversations, and I'm really happy to see some new people today. But I'd like to start, Mike Adams, it's kind of a special day because I think your dad was surely sort of a hero to all of us who ever snapped a camera shot.
Ansel.
Ansel. And today is, I'll let you say it.
Today is his birthday,
Yes.
20th February.
How old would he have
He was
been?
born in 1902.
Oh my. Oh my.
Makes him old.
Well, he lived a life, didn't he?
He did.
Oh, I'll say.
And he left all of us a wonderful legacy. Yeah. Welcome to all of you, and certainly to the new people. We've got 3, I believe. Marion Patterson has never been with us before. She's up in the left-hand corner. And Chuck Reed, I don't believe that you've been with us before, have you, Chuck?
No, I have not.
So we're delighted to have you be here today. And the third would have been Robert Dixon. So traditionally, the first thing we do with new people is to say, welcome. Tell us what you've been doing since you left Stanford 68 years ago now. In 5 minutes or less. I'm kidding. You get longer than that, but we'd love to hear what you've done with your life since you left school. Marion is going to start it off.
Yeah, so I left Stanford. I dropped out of grad school at Berkeley. I went to the California School of Fine Arts in commercial art because I was poor and needed a job. And I took one photography class. And guess who came into my class one day? There was Ansel Adams, and that changed my life totally. I bought property in Yosemite for $160, a high price at that time. Built a cabin, continued in the art school, and then I worked for Camp Curry, got fired because I mouthed off. I got hired by Virginia and Ansel Adams. And anyway, so I worked for Virginia and Ansel in Yosemite for 3 years, and they totally saved my life. I was a lost, suicidal kid, and which we can now say because I'm 90, and I didn't do it, obviously. So after 3 years, it totally changed my life, and thank you, Virginia and Ansel. And then I worked for Sunset Magazine, which was a total dead end for women, like everything else was, except for people like Ansel and Virginia, who respected women. And let's see, I've traveled all over the world making photographs. I've been to all 7 continents. If you Google Marion Patterson, Marion Patterson photographer, you'll see my photograph of Mount Everest by moonlight. And so, yeah, that was a quite an exciting adventure in Tibet. What else do I want to say? I love music. I read a lot. I'm still photographing, and I paint on my photographs. And I used to paint on my shoes too. I do not paint on my cat. He won't allow it.
And you live at Sea Ranch.
No,
Oh no. See,
tell us how you got to live
All
where
right,
you're
voila.
living, Marion. Listen to this story, you guys.
it's a little sad because my cabin in Yosemite burned in the fires in 1990. No thanks to the Park Service. And I had some insurance money, and I had to have a place. I was teaching at Foothill College, teaching photography, which was the joy of my life, I must say. And so I went up the coast. First, I went to Big Sur. I couldn't afford anything there. And then I went up the coast And the second house I looked at, I mean, I didn't know what I was doing, clueless. I made an offer on this house. I didn't know what I was doing, and we were dickering over $1,000. I said, I better go up and look at this place that I'm buying. And it's a wonderful community. It is not Sea Ranch. I looked at Sea Ranch and it was a little too elitist for me. I shall,
Oh, come on.
well, anyway, I'm still single. I just didn't know where to put a husband. So any of you? No.
Don't go there.
I'm happy. I'm happy as I is. And my cat is just fine. He's enough. So somehow I keep squeaking along. I have little money, but a very happy life. And I think that's enough. Okay.
Marion, you didn't say where you're living is Gualala. Have any of you ever driven through Gualala? It's on the
I-
California coast,
Yep.
and it's where the Russian River goes into the sea. You know, the Russian River is that resort area north of San Francisco. And it's a very, I'll call it somewhat remote. I think it is.
It's rural.
Very rural.
Rural. Yes. And we
And
have a lot of power outages.
when Marion first told me her story about losing her cabin, and then the insurance money is limited as far as what you can do to repurchase something
Yeah.
in California. So she had to find something that she could afford and that was appealing. And here she is at age 90, transporting the remainder of her belongings after losing so much into a new home, a new
If my body
community.
can block.
You're pretty happy there.
I'm very happy. It's a wonderful, amazing community. I'm actually in Anchor Bay, a little north of Wallala, we call it. And wonderful neighbors yesterday brought me over dinner. We have true community.
Good Thai food.
Oh, yes, because the Thai food restaurant is a mile and a half from me.
Thank you for sharing that wonderful story. We'll hear more from you in a little bit. Truly inspired by your ability to make that change.
Actually, Stanford did my oral history, and so did the National Park Service in Yosemite. So you can look me up. You Google me. I've had an incredible life.
Chuck Reed,
Yes.
thank you for joining us. We would love to hear your story. Tell us what you've done since Stanford.
Well, when I graduated in 1955, I was drafted into the Army.
Okay, talk a little bit louder. It's pretty good, but there you go.
Okay. I was drafted in the Army in 1956 and 55, November 55. And I went to Heidelberg, Germany for 2 years. I protected you, the American people, from the scourge of communism, sitting by a swimming pool. And came back from Germany and went to Stanford Business School and joined a company called Great Western Financial. It was the parent company for Great Western Savings, which was the second largest savings and loan association in the country at the time. And I was there for 15 years. I was executive vice president, director of marketing for the company. And I was hired away by a firm called H.F. Amundsen, which was the largest. They had a savings and loan called Home Savings. And Home Savings was the largest thrift in the country. I was there for 10 years and retired at age 60. At age 60, I joined a company called Aon, A-O-N, which is one of the largest commercial insurance brokers in the world. And I've been there for 30 years and just retired December 31st. I retired at 90. Had a great run, had a lot of fun. I'm married. I've got 3 beautiful daughters, grandchildren. I used to play golf. I don't anymore. And I've had a great life. I've had a wonderful wife, and wonderful kids, wonderful grandkids, and my health has been good. I've got a great doctor, Dr. Martin Trebe. He's my psychiatrist. He, he, he keeps me honest. And seeing Mike Arnstein, we were all in the Beta House together. Mike Arnstein and Marty and we had a great time together. I tell people I've never made a lot of money. I've made just enough money to do everything I've ever wanted to do. Take my family, all 17 of us, Tanzania for a 3-week safari, and we've gone to Alaska, we've gone to the Galapagos. We got a lot of fun. We've got a great family, great kids. No great grandchildren yet, but I'm hoping to stick around to see it.
You live in?
San Marino. It's a small community outside of Pasadena.
Across the street from the Huntington Library.
Right.
Home of the Huntington Library.
Huntington Library.
Oh, it's remarkable.
J. Wallace Sterling came from the Huntington Library to Stanford the same day that I arrived at Stanford in 1949.
I didn't introduce that guy. That's my husband, Terry, and he is here as our technical advisor for anyone who needs help getting on or doing whatever. And he's in the class of 53. And he also does a Zoom meeting quarterly for his class. So it's kind of nice to have him here. He knows what we're doing. Okay, well, thank you very much, Chuck. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about them, particularly Robert Dixon, that I already mentioned. His name is down there, but I've had some nice chats with him, and he's from Fairfax, Minnesota. He's 90 years old. He has his own bank, and he runs the bank, is president of the bank, and it's a farming community. He said they have lots of money to lend, and they're looking for good investors. Okay, and I did need to share with you several people. Mike and his team. Mike, I already introduced your team, who are all here with you today: Dave, Marty, Chuck, and John. And you guys have been great, because I've had some good conversation. And even people who couldn't come, but I want to tell you the messages that they've sent along to you. One is Amber Spinning Henninger. She is at a rehearsal for a musical presentation. That's an exact quote from her. She says to send her love. She'll be with you next month. And Jerry Barton from Ripon, California, he tripped in his garden while he was working, and that was last week. And he said he now looks like Boris Karloff. So he did not want to be on the screen with you. And also he's got a fractured wrist and also a fractured shoulder. So he's got to get well from all of that. Ruth Waters and George Wheat. Oh, Ruth, this is Mike. Mike, thank you for telling me that Ruth Waters passed away, and George Wheaton, and that was Ruth Junkie Water. So I will fix our roster, but just letting you know that those things happen and we need to know about it. Carla Anderson Hills, she responded this time, and she said she had no idea that we've already had 9 meetings, and by gosh, she's going to be here next time. She's at a business meeting in Washington, D.C. right now, but she's going to put it on her calendar for next time. And then you remember Patricia Carroll Maloney, Patsy Carroll?
Right.
Well, she contacted me and said, no, that's the wrong date, because she's headed to La Quinta. Any of you have heard of La Quinta in Palm Springs?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so she's going there to stay with her son and daughter-in-law for a few days. And then I got a nice little email from Catherine Richmond. She is our staff person that likes to join us whenever she can. And so she couldn't be with us today. Sally Baumgartner said she'd be here. She hasn't joined so far. And everybody else. But you know what? If you guys, do you think you could take just a short little introduction for our two new people today if we go around the room? I'm going to start with Fred Brown. Just give us a quick little rundown where you are, what you're doing.
I'm in Morro Bay. We came up here 25 years ago looking for a place to retire. Live on the ocean. It's just great. We can see the rock and the pier up at Cayucas. It's just really pretty cool. I haven't played golf for 17 years, but when I left Stanford, it was a pretty important part of my life. Married a girl named Holly, who's from Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin. She was a kindergarten teacher in Manhattan Beach. My daughter lives with us. I have two daughters, and one of them with her son lives with us. She's a widow, unfortunately. So anyway, I'm still playing chess 5 days a week, and fortunately, I beat the best player Saturday morning in the county, so I guess everything's still sticking.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hey, John Matthews, what's up at the Sequoias?
There's all sorts of action here at the Sequoias, and I'm going to create some action myself. Last year, to celebrate my 90th birthday, I had Clint Baker come out and play traditional jazz. Remember that stuff that Turk Ripper used to play for us?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. Anyway, this band that Clint has is a terrific band, and he's been playing since 1990 as a high school kid. Anyway, we had him come out last year, and it was such a success. I'm going to have him come out here again. We're going to have Trad Jazz live from 3 to 5 on March 9, which is a week after my 91st birthday. But anyway, we're going to celebrate by having good Trad Jazz going on. It's terrific stuff. And there's all sorts of activities here, intellectual and music and good food. I put on 20 pounds in the first year here, so I got to back off from the good food. But there's a lot of very interesting people here. And when you sit down and have a meal, you find out all sorts of interesting stories about where they've been, what they've done, all that kind of stuff. It's just a terrific place.
That's wonderful. I'm very, very happy to see you upbeat and all settled in. That's just great.
Thanks.
I'm going to go down the road to Ann Gardner.
Well, let's see. I guess one thing I have to report is I just had my 89th birthday. So maybe I was the youngest person in the class. I've never been sure about that. I'm living at the V, somewhat comparable to the Sequoias, and it's very comfortable. And again, there are lots of interesting people and lots of things to do. I'm divorced. I had one marriage, which did not go very well, and I don't have any children. So my nearest relatives now are cousins, but I've got some wonderful cousins. My project for the time being is trying to clean up excess papers. I have a tendency to be a pack rat. And as my vision gets worse, it gets harder to deal with. So professionally, I spent a lot of my life going to school, quite a long time. I was the Secretary Treasurer, the International Association for Artificial Intelligence and Law. I've been trying for several years to hand that off to my successor.
Okay, Marty, I can't wait to hear the rest of the story from you or the latest chapter. What's going on up there?
Well, I just had the move from hell. We left the beautiful Mendocino, Sonoma coast. Mendocino is where Marion lives. She lives in Mendocino coast. I live in 10 miles south in Sonoma coast, Sea Ranch. Well, we sold a house there and bought a condo in Coronado. So we moved there on January 28th and brought all the rain down. So we had a night, I moved into a rental unit, a townhouse, because our condo was strictly being remodeled to the point that we stripped everything out, toilets, sinks, there's nothing but walls in the condo. And they said they'll have it ready in about 3 or 4 months, but we don't have a permit yet to reconstruct it. They have a permit to destroy it, but not to build it back up again. So we came down here on the 28th of January, and on the 18th of January, on the 21st of January, we brought the flood with us. So the townhouse that we had rented flooded out. So now we had to move all our 2 carloads of stuff that we prepared for 3 months of living there over to my daughter's. Fortunately, she only lived about 5 blocks away, also on Coronado. One of the reasons we moved there. And then in the meantime, I didn't want to impose on her for 3 months. So we rented a condo in the same building that our condo that we bought exists, which is on the 4th floor, beautiful, it's out on the bay overlooking the city. So I really enjoy being here. And one of the reasons I'm here is because I have 2 grandsons who are SEALs. One's graduated, one's still a SEAL. I have a daughter, their sister, who is a naval flight surgeon. She got her MD degree in the Navy, and she's in an emergency medicine residency here at Balboa Naval Hospital after being 2 years as a flight surgeon, being stuck out in the Indian Ocean, floating around on the USS Enterprise, Eisenhower. Anyway, you can see why we're attracted to Coronado, other than the fact that we're closer to Chuck Reed and Mike Arnstein. That was sort of incidental, but a very good point. Haven't been back to Southern California for quite a while, and have moved around quite a bit. Not like Chuck, who's stuck in one place, beautiful place. I visited him recently. It has a beautiful home in San Marino, and I'm just really enjoying a tremendous change in atmosphere and environment. I've been in the Rotary for 58 years, and went from San Jose Rotary to Healdsburg Rotary to Gualala Rotary, now to Coronado Rotary. But it's a good way to get connected, and the activity and the energy and the pride and just the happiness in the Coronado is unexplainable. It's just tremendous. They're so interested in the community, and they have so much self-interest, because I guess a lot of it's naval. People associated with the Naval Academy or in the Navy in some way or another. We don't hear the jets flying over us, even though they land on the carriers around here. Our view from here, from sitting right now in the rental condo, looking across the bay, the entire downtown of San Diego stands up, and at night it's just beautiful as well. So we're really happy. It's entirely different from not having a signal for 50 miles in either direction, the Sea Ranch, to having one every few blocks. It is quite a change in environment, but we enjoy it. It's entirely different. Oh, I know. I stopped skiing a few years ago because I didn't have good balance. I couldn't get out of the powder easily. And also my wife made me stop riding a bike. But then she went out and bought herself a electric bike. So I said, okay, if you're going to do that, I'm going to get myself an electric tricycle. So I did. It's coming in a month. And so I'll start riding the electric trike. It has everything, all the whistles and bells, except the backup light. Doesn't have a backup light. I guess we can't go backwards on the bike. So anyway, I'm going to start riding the bike again, and hopefully I'll reach my 91st birthday without accident. I've already broken my neck one time going over the handlebars of a bike, so I don't intend to do that again on purpose. I didn't do it on purpose that time, but accidents will happen. So I'm looking forward to an entirely different lifestyle here. I still think young, but I'm not.
So I can't wait to hear when you get settled. By the next time we talk, you're going to be all settled in your new place.
I hope so.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. You bet.
Okay, and so I see Dave and Marcia next, and I'm going to do ladies first. Marcia, tell us what's up down your part of the world.
A lot of nice sunshine, and we look at the weather report and see if California is flooding away forever. But I don't know, life just goes on. It's lovely. We love being in the V. We've met fabulous people. Interesting. And of course, needless to say, not having to cook is just divine. I'm thoroughly enjoying that. We go to the gym every other day and try to keep ourselves in some kind of order and are overwhelmed at the fact that we're already 90 and about to be 91. It's just unbelievable. But here we are and feeling fine. A little few body part failures, but not bad for our age. So anyway,
Are you planning to be up in Coeur d'Alene again next summer?
yes, I think
Wonderful.
so. Yeah, we're gonna go up there, but I'll tell you, I'm not going, I have a new cooking plan.
No
It's
more
called
cooking.
Go to Costco, go to Safeway and buy frozen food.
I love it.
That, and I will put a salad together, but that's it.
Yeah, I don't
That's-
blame you. No
Oh,
way. You've
I
got a
just-
whole tribe up there. Hey,
Yes,
Dave,
we
what's
do.
up with you?
Well, I'm following Marcia. That's what I'm doing. It's a full-time job. But as she's already said, we really have developed fondness for the V at Silverwood, mainly because of the people. Great, interesting new friends. So it's been I didn't want to come here. She dragged me kicking and screaming.
Not quite.
Well, pretty much. But it's worked out very nicely. So we're very happy.
Wonderful. Jean?
Well, I'm still living in a wonderful rainy Orinda at the moment. I'm still doing tax returns. Done 4 so far this year. Got about 51 more to go. I still play a little golf. I wouldn't say I'm good at it, but we have a lovely time when it's nice weather. Travel a bit. Going to be headed to Bali and Java in late May. Going to take a train trip around New England. Going to go up the Mississippi to the Minnesota area from St. Louis. Keeping active. I see Chuck has his arm in a sling. I did a face plant last Sunday, a week ago, but I came out fine, fortunately, and I'm doing well. John
Jean,
was military, so we traveled around quite a bit.
You're the most traveled one of our whole group. I'm just truly impressed.
Well, no point in staying still if we can still move around, because
That's
there's going to come
true.
a point when I can't do it anymore.
That's true.
Right now,
I think we lost Jean Mudge. Maybe she'll come back in a little while. But in the meantime, Chuck Stockholm is right next to you. Hi, Chuck.
Hi, Marge. How are you?
Good. What's up with you?
Well, we just got back from 3 weeks in Maui this last weekend, which is great. That's why my arm is in a sling, which I can explain later if anyone really wants to know. But as far as the background, it's kind of fun because I look out here and I see 4 old Beta brothers, and Chuck Reed, who I haven't seen since I graduated, Marty, who I see occasionally, Dave and Marcia I see occasionally, and then my old roommate, Mike Arnstein, who kept me out of trouble, or I kept him out of trouble. I don't know which it was. And then one old Encina basement colleague too. We had Dave Bragg and Fred, which is a kind of a homecoming in many ways. But after Stanford and after graduate school, I got a job, was assigned to Santiago, Chile, and then they found out how good I was in Spanish. They sent me to Hong Kong, and I spent the next 20 years living in various parts of Asia. And my whole life, both in 30 years as a banker and 29 years as an investment advisor, was in the international business. I still sit on a company board in Taiwan, but Chuck Reed, you make me feel bad because I thought I was pretty good retiring at 80, and I got talked out of continuing by my wife. So I retired at 80. So going to 90, that's a real, hallmark for you. Congratulations to you. The, I guess looking around here at this group and everybody's talking about being 90 and so on. I was playing my last golf game was in December, I guess, before I had my hand in a sling. But one thing that's fun about it, March, is that I'm 91, which makes me maybe a senior citizen of this group other than Terry. But it's nice to hang out with a younger crowd, I can tell you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Chuck. We lost Mike Adams. We'll come back to him if he returns. And the same with Gene Mudge. But in the meantime, Mike, you're always my good wrap-up guy, Mike Arnstein. Let us know what you hear about all the other class members you've been talking to.
Well, I could keep you too long for that, but first, I want to tell you a couple things. It is so good to see Chuck Reed here in this group. I'm glad that you finally retired so you have time to be with us, Chuck. I know you've always been so busy. I'll tell you a little bit about the columns that are coming up. But I want to tell you first one thing. There's 40 people or more on this list that Marge has, and she sends this YouTube copy of all of our conversations out. And I understand from the calls I've made that most of the people, even though they don't appear here, do watch the calls, watch the YouTube presentation. So good for you, Marge. That really has brought a bunch of us together that even though we're in this little group we have here, we don't see them. They are with us.
Yeah.
And they report about it. And so what I've been doing is contacting different people, of course. One is, you mentioned Robert Dixon. He was actually on our last show and he did tell about himself. And he's an interesting guy. But in the next column, actually in the May column, he will show up in my reports. And I tell about his life as a kid in Chinook, Montana, where his grandparents moved in to Homestead and stayed. And he grew up in this little town of Chinook, just south of the Canadian border, and came to Stanford from there. And it's kind of an interesting story about this town. So you're going to hear about that in the May issue. In the March issue, which is coming out in a couple of weeks, you're going to hear about Chicago. And Ivan Strauss was one of our classmates, and he's an interesting guy. And he told me all about Chicago. And so you're going to get a report on the best restaurants to go to, where you can find walleyed pike, and about the architecture, the history of the architecture of Chicago, which is pretty astounding, including the newest person on that list of adding to the Bauhaus history is a gal named Jean Gang, and the stuff she's doing is remarkable. So those are kind of things that are coming up in the column. In the July column, I'm working on the Stanford Symphony Orchestra. And that's been a kick. I have found Roy Bogus in Berkeley, who was with us as a freshman, and he became a very well-known and very well-trained and accomplished pianist and then conductor. And the story about him is just terrific. And then I contacted Katie Sabin. I thought she might be with us. Katie is in Florida. She was the cellist in the symphony, and she has a terrific story to tell, and she is a lot of fun. So I'm sorry she's not here today. Well, so you can see I got lots of stuff on the plate here going on. I talked to Turner Blesso, the oboist from this, and I'm going to tell about how the symphony started in humble beginnings on the 2 months after the university opened in December of 1891, with a cast of 11 members, and it's grown to 115 members, and it moved up to the Knoll, which is called the Mansion of Music, the Knoll.
They got a new name for it.
Yeah, well, now it's used for something else. It's used for electronics because they
Okay.
moved to the Braun place where they did music from '83 to 2014 when they moved to the, guess where, the Bing Concert Center. So that's where the symphony practices now. So it's kind of a fun story, and that's what I'm working for July. So that's kind of, I mean, I could go on, but that's good setup for it.
Mike, didn't you tell me you were doing, you've got like 6 people you've already talked to who are musicians? And you're
Oh,
doing,
yeah.
you're kind of theming one of your future ones on
Yeah,
people in
yeah.
our class who are into music.
Yeah, well, I mean, I talked to the harpist, that's Judy Dolnick, and I told you the cellist, and I talked to the pianist, and I talked to the oboist, and I'm working on a few more. So it's a kick. They just love talking about themselves and about the music and about the history of, and I'm learning all kinds of good stuff about music. You know, maybe we can have another session. I can tell you all about some fine things about the great composers that they have worked with and stuff. And Chuck, the other thing is that Robert, that I talked to, Chuck and Dave, I talked to Jerry Barton, and apparently, and Moore just heard from him too. She told you what happened to him. He also broke his collarbone and has his sling on. So the two of you would be a nice pair. I'm not sure if he did left arm or right arm, but maybe between the two of you could come up with one good shoulder.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Hey, you know what? Mike, while you were talking, guess who came on finally? Robert Dixon.
Ah, there he is. Oh, you know about it. Okay. Did you hear me talk?
Hi.
And I'm so glad that you're here. Have you been able to hear us during
Yes.
the meeting?
Yes.
Okay, so you didn't miss out on everything.
Oh, I didn't miss out on anything.
I think you got some kind of a noise in the background. Are you on your phone?
No.
Okay, so what I'd love you to do, if you're willing, is to share with us what you've been doing since you left Stanford. And as I told you, in 5 minutes or less, but I'm kind of kidding on that. But we'd love to hear from you, and we're so glad you got to join us. Thank you.
Well, I went into the Air Force in Germany, and I put in 20 years. So I'm on a pension with the Air Force. And I went to Columbia University to get my MBA and met my wife there in New York City. And so I came out and I worked on Wall Street for a while, and then I bought a bank. That's about it.
Do you have children?
Yes, I have 3 boys, and one of them has triplet girls.
Oh,
In Chicago. So they're sophomores right now. I think I'm gonna have to finance them when they go to college.
so you tell them you've got your own bank.
Yes.
And you're president of the bank.
Yes.
And
oh, I'm CEO, not president. I'm CEO.
CEO, okay. And you're in a small town.
Yes.
And it's
1,235 people.
Go ahead, tell them what you told me.
Well, I'm in a small town. We raise corn and soybeans, and we've raised a few hogs, and the farms have gotten more expensive. They're running around $14,000 an acre, so you can figure out what 100 acres would be. And the farms have gotten bigger, and the people on the farms are smaller, and they got big equipment. So I got all kinds of money, and I don't have loans. That's my predicament. So that's it. And
all right. All right. Well, I enjoyed hearing about that part of America. Most of the rest of you are all on the coastal area. And so I like hearing about the heartland of America too.
Yeah.
Anybody
Minnesota.
else have something interesting to tell us about that you'd like to share before we wind it up?
I'd
Well,
like to share one with Marion. Marion, my favorite picture that I ever took was from the third floor of a motel at Anchor Bay. Marge and I ended up there by accident, and for some reason or another, our balcony looked right out on Anchor Bay, and I woke up about 6:30 in the morning, and the light was so perfect that you just wouldn't believe it. And that's been one of the favorite shots I ever took. And the other thing I want to say, Marion, you've been to all 7 continents. Well, Marge and I have been to both Antarctica and the Arctics. So
Me too.
that makes us bipolar.
Oh, bad.
All right. Yes, very bad. Terry is a word freak.
I
Okay.
wanted to tell you that my sons and I are going to go from Munich to Vienna on our bicycles.
Oh, when are you doing that?
Well, we're going to do it in July or August. I guess August.
Wow.
Ooh,
Are you still on your bicycle every day?
Yes.
You better be.
You better be
Well, I
practicing.
got snow right now. I got to stay off the bike.
Yeah. How bad is what's the weather like right now in Minnesota?
Oh, it's warm. It's kind of warm right now. Things are melting.
What's the temperature?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe 60 degrees.
Oh,
ooh.
oh, that's weird. Okay.
I got a home in Florida too.
Yeah.
And it's been cool down there.
Oh, shoot. You just got back from there, I think you were telling me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, well, I do want to share one thing with you, the reunion. You know, when we reach this exalted age of 90 or even 89, but when we get in this 90s time, we have reunions every year. And so they're called homecoming. And so this coming year, they've set the date for it as October 24th, 25th, 26th, and 27th. So if you want to put those dates down, Terry and I will be going. God knows what kind of football they're going to have. Who knows? I don't think they know. Yeah, they do, don't they? There's all kinds of weird, unfamiliar names that they're playing with. And
some good and some bad.
The next thing that we'll do is to set a date for our next meeting, when we will get together again on Zoom. This is February, so March, April, May. Does that sound good to everybody?
Depends on when.
Probably it'll be the third, I'm going to say the third Tuesday in May, the 21st of May.
Will you send a letter?
Yeah, I'm going to put it in writing, but I'm just I'm going to tell you right now. So, all right. So we'll Zoom again in 3 months. And I look forward to talking to more of you and talking to the same of you and getting to know you better. I feel like a lot of you are now friends. When before you were just classmates that I didn't know.
Marge, thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much for being here. And I really enjoy getting to know you. And I look forward to seeing you again in 3 months. So we'll say goodbye for now. Anybody have anything to add to all of that?
Well, I just looked up Marion's picture of her mountain, and it's beautiful.
I got to look that up, Marion.
Yeah, I went a little ways up that big mountain, but only a little. Thank you.
I'm sure that was a triumphant climb. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up, but I will let you all say your goodbyes before I shut off the screen.
Farewell.
Bye all.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Marion.
Bye. Fred,
Back
good
to
to
work.
see you.
I want to be on the beach with Chuck
Bye.
Stockholm.
Yeah.
Go Stanford.
Yes. Take care.
Take
Thank
care.
Okay.
Okay, we hit the lead.
Chuck, you still there?
Yeah,
It's Marty.
yeah.
I'm not a psychiatrist.
I thought that's all you did was
Well,
set bones and open brains.
yeah. Well, the brain has a bone around it.
It's
And
great to see all of you.
I'm not gonna edit that out. I'm gonna leave it in. That's funny.
Marge,
Yeah.
I want to tell Terry that I am in contact with Jack Lauderbaugh and Mel Butler.
Oh, yeah.
Occasionally. I think they're both in his class.
Yeah,
I don't know
they're
if-
both on his Zoom calls.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know they, okay, that's great.
Yeah, it's really neat. I've gotten to know them. I mean, all these people that I didn't know are now friends. I feel like
Yeah.
they're friends. Yeah. It's
Yeah, I
wonderful.
play bridge with Jack every week. Zoom,
Oh, that's
Zoom
great.
bridge.
Yeah, I keep wanting to. In fact, I've got a note sitting on my desk of the program to look into so that Terry and I can do that. But we've just been too busy. There's other stuff going on. So
Right.
we'll get to it.
I didn't say that I had the pleasure of having breakfast with Bill McCall in
Oh,
December, just
oh.
before he passed away, I think a few weeks later. But
You know, when I heard about that, when Terry and I heard, I thought, oh my God, you just told me that at the last
Yeah.
meeting that we had. And that must have been right before he passed away.
it was. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, he looked kind of frail. And, you know, at 6'6", he's probably 6'6", 160 rather than
Oh,
240. But anyway,
you think he was that frail? Oh,
yeah,
gee.
he was, yeah. But it's still nice to talk to him. And he told me about Dick Horn. I don't know if Dick Horn was not in our class. He was in, I think, Bill McCall's class.
Yeah, but I remember him. Yeah.
And he also passed away, which
Yeah.
he was a pediatrician at Menlo Clinic.
Yeah.
And
We
he also
yeah,
played football and went to medical school at the same
Yeah.
time. He was a punter.
a whole bunch of dogs. And
yeah.
he was
But he
the
played
guy-
defensive back too.
Yeah, that's right. Defensive back. That's right.
You know, the guy that you all told me to talk to, and I did because I knew him. This one I did know is Ross Bright,
Oh yeah.
Bumpy Bright.
Yeah.
And he and I had the nicest conversations. I think we talked twice. And then he wrote me and he said, you know, I don't really want to be on your
Yeah.
list and I don't want to do the Zoom call. It's just not my kind of really strange because he's very easy to talk to.
I said I would be happy to be the intern. I'd talk to him because we talk off and on. And so I can just tell you what he's doing and so forth. I can be his spokesman.
Yeah. Oh, that
Yeah.
would be great because it's nice. And you know, Mike, I so much appreciate your suggestion for you guys doing that, where you talk to your friends.
Yeah.
And lots of times, you know, people just don't feel that well, or they're getting older, or they can't do the computer, whatever the reason, they don't really want to do this. But I have now finding out that lots of people are watching the YouTubes. And all you have to do is click the link and boom, it's up. So it's not as hard to struggle with. And they're really enjoying hearing what you're doing and hearing from different people. And so I guess that has just as much value as Mike's wonderful things that he writes about. This is just another way of reaching out to people. And I think that's a great way for you guys to call people that you know. I would love that. And then tell us, you know, just like I just told you the few people that I talked to, or that they sent me an email, can't be with you, but blah, 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 this and that. And great, we'll share those things. You know what it tells me? They're active and busy. They're not sitting at home. So we've got a lot of classmates that are living a life.
We've been fortunate.
Yeah.
Those of us that are still on this side of the earth.
that goes for all of you guys too. You're all living a life. So
Yeah,
that's wonderful.
so by the way, so I have to clarify something, fellows. Chuck is the
Who's
team
talking? Is that
captain.
Mike?
Mike,
Yeah,
Oh,
Mike. Chuck is the team captain. I'm not the team captain.
oh,
You,
okay.
Marge appointed me the team captain, but Chuck's the team captain.
Okay.
And
You have to
Dave
make
and me
sure
and
you mean
Marty are
Chuck-
part of the team.
so is Chuck Reed part of the team, isn't he?
But, well, we're good. I just was gonna say, you just took it out of my mouth.
Well, Chuck,
And we're now recruited Chuck Reed to be part of the team.
yeah.
But Chuck Stockholm, he's the boss. You
Okay.
know, he's the oldest guy in the group, and
But when I tried to enlist him, Mike, he kept saying
They
he
call me
travels,
the
he's
team.
busy, he does this and that. But I think he has divested himself of some of his activities. Yeah, so maybe he's more willing. I have to say this while I've got you guys on. We need to be thinking, I mean, I'm in theoretically good health, you know, whatever heart failure I had, they seem to have taken care of, etc. But we're all going to pass on one of these days. And it would be kind of a shame if I drop dead and it's like, oh, gee, that's too bad. No more Zooms. Well, I mean, there's no reason why we can't go on as long as there's people that want to participate. So it would be nice if you start thinking about who might be able to do that. I've got it all organized. You know, I've got the roster. I've got all you have to figure out is how to host a Zoom, which is no big deal. And I'm just saying it out loud. I'm not saying that anything's wrong with me, but we are 90 years old, guys. So we're not going to be
Amazing.
forever, you know. 89. Mike, you're not 90 yet.
no, actually, I've got a few months to go.
Yeah.
So
It looks like he's gonna fall
But
over.
you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying like, oh, you're going to take on this big burden. It really is not a big burden. It's just that it would be a shame if Marge drops dead and you all say, oh, well, that's too bad. You know, we won't do that anymore. Yes, you will. You just need to know that I've got all the stuff. You just move on. Think about it
I
anyway.
nominate Marcia. She actually is probably the most talented
I think,
member
yeah,
of the
she
group.
might do a great job. Yeah.
We'd have to do some selling, but she would be great. Can you imagine Marcia hustling all our people? She would tell us where to go and what seat to sit in and what place to be on the screen and all that stuff. Oh my God, it would be fantastic.
Dave, say it out loud to her later. I mean, it's just a thought that if I
She'll
dropped
watch
dead,
this
it would
Zoom
be a
thing.
shame not to have somebody thinking, oh, yeah, we could do that, you know.
I could take orders from Marcia. I think Chuck Reed and Marty could. And Chuck, I
Yeah.
don't know about Chuck. Chuck Stockholm doesn't take orders from anybody. So he's the
Yeah.
boss.
Yeah.
I'm not-
Yeah.
Isn't that right,
I'm-
Dave?
All right. That's it. Say
Okay.
Well, let's
goodbye,
hope-
guys.
Hope for the best, Marge.
Yeah.
Maybe at 100 years old, you might consider giving it up.
Yeah, there you
All
go.
three of us, huh?
I don't know. I really didn't know what it was going to be like to be 90. So, but I had Terry ahead of me, so that helped a little bit. It's not that bad. And, you know, people are like, oh my God, you're 90. So that feels good. But anyway, all right, we're going to hang in there.
Bye.
Chuck
Okay.
Reed and Mike, I'll be seeing you soon, I hope.
I hope
I
so
hope
too.
so. I'm
I
waiting
hope
for
so too.
your call.
Nice being with all of you.
Oh, thanks so
Bye-bye.
much for joining us. I hope you'll be here again.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
Right.
and seriously, I'm going to be down there. I forget. I think it's in March. Our daughter and son-in-law are driving us down, and we're going to be with good friends at the Sofitel in Hollywood, or
Yes.
no, in someplace.
Yeah.
See, and then they want, they're artsy people. They want to go to the Huntington Library.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've got to see it. It's fantastic.
Okay, I can't wait.
Pinky and
And the
Blue
Rose
Boy.
Garden. And the Rose Garden.
Okay,
Rose
all
Garden.
right. All right, guys. Say
Bye-bye.
say goodbye.
Bye,
Bye.
Bragg.
Bye-bye all.
Have a say goodbye.
Ciao, baby.
Ciao.